Greetings to all my tech heads out there in the KevTechify Nation, and if you're new here, welcome. In this episode, we're going to look at IPv6 address representation. We'll be discussing IPv6 address formats, the preferred format, and then we're going to look at a couple of rules about omitting leading zeros and the double colon. This episode is part of my series on Introduction to Networks for the CCNA. I'm Kevin here at KevTechify. Let's get this adventure started. IPv6 addressing is 128 bits long, and those bits, they're represented in hexadecimal. So we take 4 bits, turn that into a hexadecimal bit. Those 4 bits are represented by 1 hexadecimal bit, and we put that together. The preferred method here is not case sensitive, but that format looks like this. It is an X here, and once again, these are our 4 hexadecimal numbers. Each X is a hexadecimal number. We have an X with a colon. Repeat that X with a colon again. Going through, and that's how it's represented. Number, colon, number, colon, number, colon. That is the preferred method to represent that. Once again, computers, devices, they see it as strings of 128 ones and zeros, but for us humans to better easily understand it, we translate this into this preferred format. Now, a hextet is a term that I've only heard used with IPv6, but a hextet is a segment of 16 bits or 4 hexadecimal numbers. A hextet is 4 hexadecimal numbers there. Now, on the bottom here, we do have a couple examples of an IPv6 address. As you can see, these are 64 hexadecimal numbers long. Once again, remember, each hexadecimal is represented by 4 bits. And so we could take each one of these. We could take this 2, break it out into 4 bits. We could take the 0, break it out into 4 bits. But put 4 of these hexadecimal numbers together, 2001 right here, that is equal to our hextet. And so we have 1 hextet, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 hextets make that all together. And between each hextet, we put a colon in there. This is the preferred method to write these numbers out, to write these IPv6 representations out. There are a couple rules of writing out an IPv6 address. First rule here is omit the leading zeros. Now, what we can do is when we go through and we write these out, down here is a preferred method of writing out an IPv6 address. We have 2001 : 0 db8 : 0000, 4 zeros in a row. What we can do is we can drop or not write out the leading zeros. And for this second hextet right here, what we can do is not write out this leading 0. So this hextet right here, we can write it as db8 without the leading 0. Then this third hextet right here, it is 4 zeros long. We can drop out all the leading zeros, but we have to leave 1 0 in here. And so what we can do is write these 4 hextets out as 1 0. Takes us down to 1 0. And as you can see, we can work through there doing that. It's more of a shorthand for us humans to write out these IPv6 addresses. The second rule here is we can use a double colon. What the double colon represents is any single continuous string of 1 or more 16 hextets consisting of all zeros. If you see 4 hexadecimal numbers and they're all zeros, you can replace that with a double colon. And you can replace multiple hextets with that double colon. Here's an example. Down here we have the preferred, and this is the same number we've been using the whole time. First thing is rule 1 here, we can omit the leading zeros. And then we have all zeros, and the last hextet here, we can have another 0. Do note, double colon can only be used once in a number. And for me, what I would do is I would pick out the longest strings of zeros and put the double colon in here. You could possibly put the double colon right here, or you could put the double colon on these 3 hextets of zeros. For me, I picked the longest one, which is this one. It's 12 zeros in a row, and you can replace that with these double colons, but you only can do that once. And so this one right here, that third HexTet right here, that has to be written out as a 0, but you can omit the leading zeros, and you can take that down to just 1 0 again. Looking at the preferred method once again, this is our string of 64 hexadecimal numbers. We can take it down into this compressed format. Compressed format, we've dropped all the leading zeros. There should be a leading 0 there. There should be 3 leading zeros there, because once again, you need 4 hextets between each colon. And then we have a double colon here. You need to fill out with 4 sets. You need to fill out with 4 zeros, colon, 4 zeros, until you get all the way up to your 8 hextets. It was my pleasure to provide you with this wonderful episode on IPv6 address representation. If you like this episode and you got value out of it, please click that like button, give a 5-star rating, leave a comment. This all helps me bring you more great content. Please take a minute to subscribe to my channel. All my socials and contact information are on my website, KevTechify.com. There you can find out how to get all of these episodes in video and podcast form. In the upper right is my playlist for my series on Introduction to Networks for the CCNA. In the bottom right is one of my favorite videos that I picked just for you. Thank you so much for watching this episode out of my series on Introduction to Networks for the CCNA. Once again, I'm Kevin. This is KevTechify. I'll see you next time for another great adventure.